It's Season 2 of an all-new episode of The Wrestling Show. Tonight, it's a very cynical review of a week of wrestling, starting with the Monopoly. That's right, the head of the corporation. It is AEW, starting with Dynamite, then moving to Rampage. Then we move on to the other corporation. That's right, it is the WWE Universe, starting with the NXT 2.0, moving to the flagship, Raw, next, SmackDown, then finally, the best that wrestling has to offer, it is NXT 2.0. Well, welcome to the channel, listener, viewer. I'm your host, Lip, aka Tetsu Omega, and before we get on, I gotta tell you a little about myself, I just love wrestling. I loved wrestling for such a long time. I remember the days of the Saturday night main event. That's right, that's how long. I've gone much more cynical on my years, but I still love the wrestling and what it represents. It's just fun stuff. But I always have a thing about what is wrestling. You know, there is the AEW and wrestling versus the WWE. You know, one is completely silly, and one is I don't know. Regardless. First up, we go to the corporate engine of wrestling. It is AEW's Dynamite. Thank you. That's a little bit extreme, don't you think? First, we have our first match. First match is CM Punk versus QT Marshall. Now, the other week, QT Marshall challenged old CM Punk. You know, did not believe in what CM Punk had to offer. So, this is the end result. So CM Punk goes to the ring, where instead of QT Marshall, it was, in fact, Maxwell Jacob Friedman joining the ring. And wow, they had quite the face-to-face in the ring. All sorts of, this got very, very personal. This broke the wall, perhaps. Yeah, CM Punk had lots to say. Talked about how, MJF is a less famous Miz, you know, and that he's been replaced by Britt Baker, which makes zero sense. So CM Punk is his whole thing is basically superficial, you know, insults, big deal. You know, CM Punk can do better, but you know what? When you're going against MJF and he's bringing up what a failure you were, Phil Brooks, as a mixed martial arts fighter, when it comes down to real fighting, there is no one worse than Phil Brooks. And then comparing him to John Cena. That's right, John Cena and Phil Brooks, or CM Punk, you know, David Arquette look-alike. So this was really brutal. I'm not sure where this can go. How much more MJF can cut CM Punk with his words, because he's already gone to the deepest depths of what he can do, other than, you know, taking apart his wife. But that gesture just be completely inappropriate. But then again, where they not go? They attacked people's families before. It won't be the first, and it won't be the last. So we get along to the match, and it's a typical CM Punk match, because, you know, in AEW, CM Punk is quite the commodity there. Quite the commodity. You know, he's bringing quite the draw. They need him to win. I think it's in his contract too. So QT Marshall, him and his factory and his people, they're all jobbers. They don't win. QT Marshall, he's a jobber. He doesn't win. You know, there's a lot of jobbers in AEW. There's two factions of the Job Squad. It is the factory, and it is the Hardy Family Office. Job Squad 1 and 2. So in the end, it was, you know, it's hilarious, because CM Punk just totally body slammed QT Marshall like 5 times in a row, and just like like a practice, you know, where you get in line and take your slams and carry on. This was no different. So then after that, QT Marshall took over for like 5-7 minutes of absolutely dominating CM Punk. But like usual, CM Punk wins at the end. What are you going to do? Nothing. But accept it. So here we go. It comes down to a tag team match now. The Bear Country. Bear Country. That's right, whoever they are. They've had a few matches. You know, I wouldn't really... They'd be more... One's a kind of a bear, I guess. One's a seal. You know, bear and a seal in a... You know, certain circles. Now, one's a Boulder, one's Bronson, and they are fighting the Gun Club. Now, the absolutely farcical Gun Club. It's farcical for only one reason. Is Billy. He's a farcical reason. Now, with Austin Gunn at their side, it is they were called down the ring as Billy and Colton Gunn. Billy and Colton Gunn. But really, it's Colton Gunn and Billy, because Billy cannot use the Gunn name in his in AEW. He cannot use the Gunn name, so he's Billy.
Hi, I'm Billy, and this is my kids. Austin Colton Gunn. I'm the Gun Club.
I had to use that voice because I can't stand Billy Gunn. Not at all. So, like, nothing special. It is the Gun Club who takes the win. You know, because who are Bear Country? Jobbers. Jobbers. Yeah, jobbers. Until they come up with something that's even more jobbers than they are. It was hilarious, and what is even more hilarious is the contract signing of Dante Martin. Now, Dante Martin had... now, this contract signing is with Taz, Team Taz. This has gone on for like the third week of this contract proceedings. From first wanting to sign Dante till now it took 3 weeks. But Dante Martin himself, when he first came in solo. He was a loser. He was like every wrestler in AEW, come in, you will lose until you, I don't know, cut your teeth in business. I don't know. So he fights, Matt Sydal. Matt Sydal wins and takes him under his belt. Apparently he saw something in Dante Martin. But that's not it, though. After that, it's what's his name? Was it Leo Rush? Leo Rush decides that he sees something in Dante Martin. Leo Rush just joins in and sees something in Dante and decides he's the one that's going to be mentoring Dante Martin. And so he rough arms Dante out of Matt Sydal. Dante thinks, okay, whatever. I want to get better myself, so it doesn't matter who I'm with as long as I'm better. So I'm okay with it. So now here we go, present moment. Dante Martin is with Leo Rush in a contract signing. For some reason, Leo Rush decided that he's his manager, so he's got to look over the contract too. Taz is like talk Dante, looking at Leo Rush, thinking, "What are you doing here? You don't belong here. Who are you?" So Leo Rush is telling him, "Oh, you shouldn't sign this. It's a terrible idea. No." And Dante is his own man, and he made decisions. You know, he decided to stay with Matt Sydal. He decided to stay with Leo Rush. Now he's decided to stay with Team Taz, and maybe he might even be Taz's favorite wrestler. The TFW belt, or FTW belt, Faz's favorite Taz wrestler belt, might end up going to Dante in the future. So next up, we've got ourselves an actual match. It is for the women. It is a quarterfinals match in the tournament for the corporate championship belt. That's right, the Turner Broadcasting System belt, which is an absolutely stupid title. That's why I call it the Corporate Wrestling Federation. They've got 2 Ted Turner belts, which is absolutely stupid. So it is Jamie Hayter versus Thunder Rosa. I picked Thunder Rosa to win, you know. But Jamie Hayter, part of the practice, and with the practice, you've got to get your team. It is Dr. Britt Baker and what's their name? Rebel, also in here. When it came down to it, it was a cheat that was supposed to help Jamie Hayter. Rebel goes on the ring apron, grabs the ref's attention, says, "Aubrey," gets the ref's attention. Right, come over here. Ref goes over there. They talk. "Oh, you got to stay here, ref, until we tell you to turn." So while that's all happening, Britt Baker comes in the ring and Hayter and Brick try to double team on Thunder Rosa, which ends up in a super kick to Jamie Hayter's face, which turns into a roll up, which Thunder Rosa wins. After the fact, Britt Baker decides that it's very, very sorry for the situation. Tries to apologize to Hayter. Hayter doesn't have any of it. She leaves by herself. Now, is this long term or is it short term? Is she angry for a long time? Who knows? We'll find out in 2 days or later on Rampage. Next up, we've got ourselves what's that? The Labors of Bryan Danielson, Part 2. That's right. First time it was against Evil Uno. Now it's against Coco Cabana. That's not Coco, Boom Boom. Who gives a damn, though? It's just Colt Cabana, who hasn't been fighting. He barely fights at all. He's an old man. He won't fight much. But now, this is hilarious. Before, like a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, Daniel Bryan was absolutely loved by everybody. Even last week, he was loved by everybody. Until he wasn't. Because people are fickle. Like me. I'm very fickle. But, you know what? Daniel Bryan's bringing it up again. The fans, they can turn you on a dime. But you know what? This is not just wrestling fans. I think there's a point here. I think the world, if you're human, you're fickle. You know, it takes like a very special person not to be fickle. They have their morals and compass and, you know. But we as a human race are a fickle human race. We are all fickle. And it is a, it's a funny word. It's a Nordic word, I believe. You know, right up there, Norwegian. So it is, it's funny, it's not an English word, fickle, but it suits us perfectly. So with the LeBell Lock, it is Bryan Danielson with a big win over Coco Cabana. You know, not Coco Cabana, but you know, Colt Cabana. Boom, boom. Now with that win, he absolutely knocked out Boom Boom's teeth, apparently. He picked out some teeth from the floor, and it was supposed to be from Boom Boom's mouth. I personally don't believe it, not at all, not at least bit. So at the end, he's challenging the whole Dark Order, like Undertaker, kick all the Dark Order's teeth down their faces, you know, and the crowd's really booing him up, like they should. And then comes out Hangman Adam Page, the new AEW champion, hasn't defended it at all. Now he's a returning leader of the Dark Order, because Dark Order is nothing without Hangman, and this is the 3rd time returning. And he challenges Bryan Danielson to a match. I challenge you. He said, not after this, after this match, how, that's, you know, just make fun. Like, how, of course that's you to challenge me after I had a match. I'm tired. You know, Daniel Bryan had a short match. It can easily go another 40 minutes without thinking twice about it. But this will be another time. And while that happens, it had a short little scuffle for the fans. So next up, we've got a 8-man tag. This was a cluster of ridiculousness that happens. This is, okay, so let's go. It is Malachi Black, Andrade El Idolo, and we got ourselves FTRs, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler with Tully in there, and Jose with Andrade. Versus, of course, the Death Triangle, Rey Fenix, Penta Zero, and Pac teaming up with Cody Rhodes, which became a Cody Rhodes show, actually. And with them, it's Alex Riding Gloves, Abrahantes, who is absolutely useless. Although he doesn't think he's useless, he wants to take over that triangle. He thinks he's more important than he actually is, but he's not even one-trick pony. He's completely rubbish. That is my opinion. So during this match, it was Cody Rhodes show from the start. Cody Rhodes fights with a stupid weight belt on, you know, and during the match he takes off the belt and throws it in the crowd. This time he throws it in the crowd, but I heard something really funny. The crowd was saying, throw it back. And in fact, you know, when he throws it in the crowd, he might have hit someone in the head. Who knows? But when the crowd was to throw it back. So the crowd actually threw the belt back, whacking Aubrey right in the head with the belt, which was not just funny, it was hilarious. So with that happening, oh my God, when you throw your own merch back, Cody looked like an absolute fool. So Andrade comes in, takes the belt and throws it underneath the ring. Just chucks it underneath there. Later on, you know, this is all about Cody now. Later on, Cody gets somebody, a ring hand, to grab his belt again. To grab his belt and hand it back to Cody. Where Cody puts the belt back on his waist. Even though theoretically that belt is gone in the crowd. But you know what? Screw the fans. I'm going to put my belt back on. It's my belt. And I'm going to prove to the fans what kind of a loser chump I am. And why nobody likes me. That's right, Cody. That's why nobody likes you. One of the many reasons. You know, you're so... Cody. So, anyways, Cody puts on the belt. Everybody's booing him because he's a loser. Later on in the match, he takes the belt back off to throw it in. You complete buffoon loser. Okay, now, not just that. Not to get hooked up on Cody and his buffoonery. It comes down to this. This is how silly the match was. We got Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson coming to the ring to fight Jose, Andrade's translator, a.k.a. English teacher. That makes no sense. And where was Alex riding gloves Abrahantes? Not helping out Jose, that's for sure. He doesn't fight. He just likes talking for other people, even though he's not wanted. He has so much charisma and he's got nothing to follow it. He's got nothing to back himself up. He is a loser. So Jose got himself beaten up. And to end the match, we got ourselves a double team. Andrade and... what's his name? Malachi. Malachi gets Pac and spits in a black COVID death mist into his mouth and nose. And Andrade gets a pin. Yay. Next up, we go to AEW Rampage. Thank you. Okay, so we start off huge. It is a tag team match. It is a best friends. Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Utah versus, that's right, it is the Undisputed Era, a.k.a. the Super Clique, a.k.a. the Elite. It is Adam Cole and Bobby Fish. Now, it was a popularity contest from the beginning. It was popularity against Orange Cassidy and Adam Cole. Of course, no one cares about Bobby Fish or Wheeler Utah, so basically it was popularity counts against that. It's a Adam Cole, baby, yeah, and then the hands and pockets. But you know what? It was fun. It was a fun match because Orange Cassidy, his character is well defined. He's been doing that for many, many years. He understands who he is, and he made Adam Cole look like an absolute fool. Oh, it was great. Oh, his weak kicks, his sarcastic kicks, And he comes down, he gets snapmares over, Adam Cole, gonna throw in a rear naked choke, but ends up putting his arm around his shoulder and giving the thumbs up for a nice photo moment, making Adam Cole look like a foolish little kid. Oh, it's so good. So good. But in the end, it was actually, Wheeler Utah gaining a loss against Bobby Fish with a retarded song and a retarded win. So next up, we go to our second match. It is a match not for the women's championship, but for the opportunity to become number one contender for the championship. So you know how that's going to go. Usually the champion usually loses. So it's Dr. Britt Baker versus Riho. And Dr. Britt Baker does bring the practice with her. That's right, Rebel and Jamie Hayter. So it looks like from Wednesday or Thursday, it was dynamite time. Jamie Hayter didn't know what was going to happen with Hayter and her future with Britt Baker. But I guess it's all cleared up now. All good. So they did some cheating, They tried to choke Riho. No one's seen. Early on in the match, Riho takes out Rebel and Britt Baker, on the outside. Britt Baker tries to go for the lockjaw. Doesn't do it. It is, of course, a non-title. So Riho with a big win. And it was, in fact, won by a roll-up. Wonderful, wonderful roll-up. Next up, we've got our main event match. Main event time. And it is not big. Eddie Kingston. Very intense individual. Versus 2.0's best friend, Daniel Garcia. Now, Eddie Kingston's been losing left, right, and center for a long, long time. But this time, finally, I figured he's fighting Dan Garcia. He's a loser. Dan Kingston's finally going to win. I thought it was going to be a squash, but it was far from it. Daniel Garcia made Eddie Kingston look like quite a loser dummy. Got very bad in the ring there. You know, a lot of slap fights, but it was fun. Daniel Garcia ruled the match, but in the end, it was a spinning back fist to Daniel Garcia. And a big win to, of course, Eddie Kingston. And so with the win, 2.0 can't have it. Matt Lee and Jeff Parker come in the ring and help beat up, Eddie Kingston. But who comes to the ring to help? Straight from commentary. That's right. Chris Jericho comes in to help out for some reason. Now, that's not going to last. Chris Jericho looking like he has best extensions and, weave put in. Add more hair to his lackluster hair. That's some cheap shots. They shouldn't go there. But nevertheless, I don't think that's going anywhere. Eddie Kingston and, what's the name? Moxley can't help. He's got some personal demons he's got to battle. When he's going to be back, who knows? Who knows? So at the end, we got ourselves Tony Nese and Gargano. Not Gargano, but was it Spanish God? Up there trying to make something for themselves. Is Sammy Guevara and Tony Nese. Sammy Guevara saying, "Yeah, you just got here. You did nothing here so far." Well, he just got there. But at the end, it was Tony Nese knocking down Sammy Guevara, putting his knee on his kidneys, and telling him that he's going to lose next week. So who knows what's going to happen there. Next up, we go to the WWE with NXT 2.0, a.k.a. the New Generation Era. That's right. Thank you very much. And we start off with this whole thing with the Grayson Waller taking the ring and making a promo. The WWE's NXT is really putting a lot of, stock into Grayson Waller. I don't know why. He never really wins at all. But they're putting a lot of stock into him, making his speech and stuff like that, talking about how fickle the crowd is. Yes, right. Grayson Waller talking about how fickle the crowd is. And he's right. He's doing the Daniel Bryan. Not sure why he's using it. He's Australian. It's not an Australian word, But then again, we all use different languages, like entrepreneur. But, okay, so he's calling everybody fickle, talking about how people turn their back on The Rock and Cena and shit like that. Hey, it is what it is, So is now Tommaso Ciampa versus Grayson Waller. The actual match starts. You would have thought everybody wanted Tommaso Ciampa to smash his ass. But when it came down to it, Grayson Waller did a fantastic job holding off Tommaso Ciampa. Coming close to winning many times, but when it came down to it, it was a fairy tale ending. A very clean victory. Tommaso Ciampa with the win. Grayson Waller looking very dejected at the end. Because he can't win. He never wins. He wins very rarely. So next up we got an in-ring promo by our favorite, Cameron Grimes, our favorite millionaire, Cameron Grimes, with his new look. His bob, do, and trim beard. Thanks to, of course, Duke Hudson. It's last week on the poker game where Duke Hudson got embarrassed and take out his frustrations on Cameron Grimes. Where Cameron Grimes wanted to fight with Duke Hudson, where he accepted, but this time it is at War Games. It's for hair versus hair. I personally can't see Duke Hudson with a bald head. I can't see it. But Cameron Grimes, I can. I can see Cameron Grimes with a bald head. So even though you think Cameron Grimes is going to win, but I think Duke Hudson's going to pull one out at War Games. So at the end, you've got Cameron Grimes walking through Chase University, a room inside the training center. So Chase is in there. Andre Chase is trying to tell Cameron Grimes how to win, and he can't. And for anybody telling anybody how to win, it shouldn't be Chase because he doesn't win. He's not terrible, but he's not a winner either. So Cameron Grimes is like, whatever. And that bugged Chase a lot. Made him really angry. But it doesn't really matter. Chase can't beat Cameron Grimes. So next up, we got a tag team match. It is the Ways, Indy Hartwell, and Persia Peretta versus Team Casey. Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. Now, before the match started, it was Persia who was worried about her good friend Indy Hartwell, saying you should really consider spending more time with Dexter Lumis and his broken hand. He seems overly worried, like way too overly worried. I'm saying way too overly worried. It's just a broken hand, really. He's not dying. He's going to be back, and it's a fake broken hand, too. We all know it. And, of course, he broke a hand in real life, and he's just trying to make it... No, he didn't. Okay, so next we got the fight. You know, Persia does a good job, you know, but she gets eventually taken out at the match, where Indy Hartwell was not in the match at all. Her heart was not in it, and she sold it like no one's business. It was pretty pathetic. With just a broken hand, come on now. Come on now. Indy, really? That was just too much selling of that heartbroken Indy. And it came down to it. It was a nice win by Team KC. Catanzaro with a big victory. You know, it gets the pinfall. So next up, we got Legado del Fantasma coming to the ring. That's right. Legado is, what's his name? Santos Escobar versus the Great Jobber. He will lose no matter what. Malik Blade. He looks pretty powerful, but he's meant to lose this match, and he does. And with all Legado del Fantasma in the ring, you know, celebrating the victory of Santos Escobar, we've got ourselves Von Wagner and Kyle O'Reilly coming in the ring with the challenge to Legado. But who intervenes there? It is, of course, Imperium, Fabian Eichner, and Marcel Bartel. Bartel very angry with the fans not knowing the difference between German and Italian. Fabian Eichner, he is Italian. Don't you know? No one cares. Okay, next up, we got ourselves a match. War Games prequel match, you know, the setup for War Games, I guess. It's Mandy Rose versus Cora Jade. Nothing on the line, of course, just pride. This is a good match. Mandy Rose is always improving, which is always good to see, but I don't think she's ready for the belt yet, even though she is the champion. Not ready yet, but it was an okay match until, of course, Kaylee Ray comes to the ring, disrupts everything. She's the disruptor here with a bat, even though she didn't come in the ring to put her hands on anybody. She just destroyed some inanimate objects around the ring, which got Mandy Rose's full undivided attention. And while that attention is given to Kaylee Ray, she was rolled up into a package and pinned. Yes, that's right, by Cora Jade with a big victory over Mandy Rose. Good thing it was in the belt match or a number one contender match. Otherwise, things would be really bad. So backstage, now moving on. Backstage, we got LA Knight with an interview being interrupted by the Born Again himself, Joe Gacy. That's right, Joe Gacy with his propaganda he's spilling. Might not be completely negative, but the way he says it, you just want to strangle him. You want to strangle him and then dig him, roll him in the carpet and stuff him behind the couch. That's what you want to do to Joe Gacy. Yes, he's just so annoying. So this ends up being a match, set up a match, Joe Gacy versus LA Knight. Joe Gacy's in the ring first. LA Knight tries to join him in the ring to beat him up, but we got ourselves a problem. What's his name? Grayson Waller comes in to attack Joe Gacy, or LA Knight, which takes LA Knight out of it, so there's no match. So Joe Gacy takes the time to preach more of his preaching, you know, his born-again preaching. Now, what is Joe Gacy? Joe Gacy is nothing but a Bray Wyatt under a born-again title, I guess. Different clothing. So he's talking, and you know who wouldn't have it? That's right, Diamond Mine comes in, cutting him off, saying, whatever. So Joe Gacy, very upset. He wants a match with Roderick Strong. And they said, what are you talking about? This is a cruiserweight. You're a fat idiot. You can't take this belt. You're in the wrong weight class. And Joe Gacy saying, this is all discriminating. And you know what? He's right. It is discrimination. You know what? Because in an actual mixed martial arts fight or a combat sport, you need to have weight classes because the heavier opponent will usually win, unless of course the lighter weight guy is a skilled absolutely beyond. Because there are times where the lighter weight fighter goes up in weight class because they're that exceptional, but the average fighter, they can't do that. So that's why you have weight classes. Maybe Joe Casey's right in this wrestling, because we all know it's fixed. This is just entertainment. Do we really need a weight class belt? I don't think so. Well, most belts, anyways, are irrelevant and redundant. You know. So now, before the Diamond Mine can attack Joe Gacy, he gets his lover, you know, Arian, dressed exactly like Mike Myers. Now this is hilarious because this is like Brody Lee, or should I say, it's like Bray Wyatt, and his flock, wearing the overalls. It's been done. Luke Harper, come on now. So this ends up being a match: Roderick Strong versus Joe Gacy, the Born Again. Now, this is for the Cruiserweight Championship. So if Joe Gacy wins, will it be called a Cruiserweight anymore? Or will it be called like an open weight or something like that, which doesn't matter. Okay, so it leads on to the match. It is Diamond Mines, Ivy Nile versus the Jobber. Very first match here is Yulisa Leon in the first match. The only thing it showed here was Ivy Nile's dominance in the match. Is she going to be just like the Creed brothers, fighting jobbers and winning, and fighting when you actually fight a name wrestler, you're going to lose. You can't hold your own against someone who aren't a jobber. Imperium taught them a lesson, I believe. So we move on. Now we got our team of in the War Games, the women's team. One side finally made up because Zoe Starks can't be part of it. She's injured. So joining them is Kaylee Ray. So right now we got ourselves Kaylee Ray, Io Shirai, Cora Jade, and Raquel Gonzalez versus Dakota Kai. That's right, remember this time. What's his name? And Toxic Attractions, Mandy Rose, JC Jane, and Gigi Dolan. Now, I hope JC's going to get out of this without a serious injury or injury at all, but I've got questions about that match. That match might be a complete mess. Okay, now we go on to our next. It's a tag team match. It is, Team BBJ, JBBJ. It is Josh Briggs and, what's his name? It's right, Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen versus, that's right, the grizzled young veterans, Zach Gibson and James Drake, who's been practicing their cheating techniques outside. And this time they're trying to, last time they tried a cheating technique, distraction on a bystander pedestrian, where Zach Gibson faked a leg injury while James Drake stole his wallet and bought food with it. So this time they're trying to do the fake leg thing with Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs, but does not go down well at all. The cheat leads them to the loss, where Brooks Jensen gets a big win. Josh Briggs, clearly not dressed to wrestle. He just got off the streets, put on an armband, and just, let's go, guys. Okay, next up is a triple threat match for the North American Championship title. It's, of course, the main eventer, Camaro Haze versus Johnny Gargano and Pete Dunne, who's in there. This match was a fun match right up to the end, where Tony D'Angelo attacked Pete Dunne. Since it's no rules, so then Carmelo Hayes took advantage and got the win. But with that, we got ourselves Grayson Waller comes in, also LA Knight comes in, so they all fight. So now we got ourselves a big team, the men's War Games team: Grayson Waller, Carmelo Hayes, not Trick Williams. Nope, he's not there. Instead of Trick, it's Braun Breaker and D'Angelo, Tony D'Angelo, versus Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Finally back together, DYI. Hey, and Pete Dunne and LA Knight. Seems very put together last minute to me. Could be good, may not be good. But next week we got ourselves a advantage match. Who wins? Kaylee Ray versus Dakota Kai. Winner gets the advantage in War Games. Next up, we go to the flagship of wrestling of the WWE. It's Raw. That's right. Raw started with now Survivor Series. It all started, this whole thing, with Vince McMahon and the golden egg worth $25 million given to him by The Rock. This is also a prop from Red Notice, Rock's new movie. Now, this time he has Adam Pearce and the Sonya Deville, the bitch, in for a meeting saying that if he doesn't get his egg for the end of the day, you're both fired. Pretty much it. And we go on to our segment. It is second segment. It is Randy Orton. That last week, it was talking to Riddle about how to be a better tag team partner. And Riddle wants to be more like Randy Orton. And this week, he was. He actually dressed like Randy Orton, full with mustache and goatee. And instead of boots, he has feet wraps. So it looks like he's wearing black boots. But he is not. He can't wear boots because his feet won't allow him. Well, then again, it's a long story. You probably know it. But he can't wear boots. So it was a good match. It was against Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler and Riddle. And obviously, Reigns on his side and Roots on Ziggler's side. It was a fun match. Went both ways. But in the end, it was Riddle giving the RKO to Dolph Ziggler for the big victory. And not to be outdone by that, Robert Roode came to the ring to attack, but only to get in the clutches of Randy Orton, who gave him, that's right, it's the Bro Derek. It is Riddle's finishing move. Now, these guys are going to be a while for a little bit longer, which is nice. Nice to see Riddle and Randy Orton still together. Hopefully, they're going to be together for another year. They can go far. It's very fun. Randy's having a good time. He's having fun. And I got to say, if I would look up to any wrestler, the personality who I'd like to emulate most or be like, it's Riddle. Riddle truly is a bro. He's such an easygoing guy who's lovable and likable. I am complete opposite. Complete jackass. Asshole. What are you going to do? That's why I look up to him. It's good to have people you can respect and admire. Things that I can't be. Next up, we got an in-ring promo. Becky Lynch. Is anybody ready for Becky Lynch? I don't know. But we got ourselves a nice little thing. Remember last week it was Tamina versus Bianca Belair. Dewdrop watching in the back. Tamina taking the Kiss of Death really poorly, but still losing to the Kiss of Death last week. This week it is Tamina versus Bianca Belair. Will it be different for Tamina? Or will she get Kiss of Death again and taken really poorly and losing? Yes, if you should have said that, you were right. Bianca Belair with the Kiss of Death to Tamina. Another great match, though. It was a fun match, but we all know Tamina will, in fact, lose. But Tamina was the Raw, so we got SmackDown elements here too. All the fighters were here today. So that's why Natalya was on the side too. So Natalya, after the match, Natalya tries to attack Belair, but she got tossed out like garbage, And then Dewdrop comes in again and absolutely squashes Bianca Belair in the middle of the ring. Who knows where that's going to go? I like to see Dewdrop go far in this business. She's got a lot of personality. She leaves the ring with Tamina and Natalya. That's not going to last long because obviously they're going to split it up after the day. So next up, we got ourselves a wonderful match, so-called match. It is Finn Balor, was supposed to be last week, versus Seth Rollins. But before, this match would have been a fantastic match. Would have been great. But before the match could even start, they just fought before they got in the ring. And usually when this happens a lot, that with the pre-match fight, and then they get in the ring and they got everything sorted out and they have the official fight. But this time there wasn't any official fight because Finn Balor was taken out by staircase. Seth Rollins laying out Finn Balor. And then tossing back in the ring, giving him the curb stomp. Leaving the ring, coming back again for another curb stomp, knocking out Finn Balor. A lot of reference here, trying to separate it all. Seth Rollins makes his exit. While he's making his exit, he's attacked by a crazy fan. Now, this was not scripted. Not scripted at all, because the WWE went straight to replays. A lot of replays while this all happened. Seth Rollins attacked by fan. I'm sure why they didn't show it, because they can't have this on the air. I can't have any crazy person think, oh, well, this is my claim to fame. I'm sorry, but I hope this guy got his ass whooped. And he's probably going to jail, too. But they ignored this whole thing. They probably would never bring it up. but it happened. Seth Rollins attacked. Seth Rollins getting out there unscathed, maybe a little bit more of a bleeding nose or mouth. But thank goodness Seth Rollins was not hurt. This crazy fan, probably going to jail, hopefully. And after that dramatic situation, we got ourselves a wonderful match here. It is a tag team match. It is AJ and Almost versus the Street Profits. The Street Profits bringing in a little baggie, a large baggie actually, very suspicious, leaving on the staircase. AJ and Almost walks around it. They don't care much about it. So I guess they actually used what's in the bag because as soon as Almost takes over the match, where it becomes unwinnable by the Street Profits, they break out the surprise, which is a fire extinguisher, and they spray up Almost, which they got disqualified. Then they spray up AJ Styles, and they start spraying around everywhere, which I don't know what's going on. If they seem like the cheapest thing. They lost bad. They got, if we're gonna lose, we might get disqualified. Who knows what's going on with Street Profits? But they're not ready for Almost and AJ. Nobody is ready. Only a matter of time before they can top the division again. Tag team division. Next up is another tag team match. This time is the women's tag team champions, which they haven't been doing much at all. The last time they fought, they lost. It was a non-tag title. And it was against the same people, Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash. Versus, now this feud has been going on for quite a while now. Versus Queen Zelina and Carmella. Now, I'm not sure why. Now, King Woods knighted, Kofi Kingston. Now, Sir Kofi. Why can't, Zelina knight Carmella? Make her, Dame Carmella. It doesn't matter. So, what's that? Rhea Ripley pretty much dominates the match. Somehow, they get her outside the ring. Where Carmella somehow, I'm saying somehow a lot, because it seems completely crazy that it happened, because it's impossible. That Carmella ends up knocking out Rhea Ripley outside the ring, kicking her head to the post or something like that. It doesn't make any sense. But that left Nikki Ash, the weaker element of the tag team, in the ring, where she was quickly polished off by Zelina Vega with the Code Red, new champions, Zelina and Carmella. And what's going to happen with Nikki Ash and Rhea? I can see Rhea going on her own, try and go for the gold again. After all, she's got to. Now we got Vince McMahon storyline continuing. It is Sami Zayn going to Vince McMahon saying, I know who took the egg and I can bring him to you. And sure enough, he did. He brought in Austin Theory. And what was Austin's reasoning for taking that damn egg? Well, apparently he needed to take a selfie with it and he needed to find a good special place for it. He couldn't just take it in a room. He had to take the egg somewhere else to have a selfie. And Sami Zayn, he's so funny. He did a little small violin. Oh, it's so good. But, Vince McMahon just does not like Sami Zayn. So he gives the title match to Austin Theory with Big E later for the main event. Leaving Sami Zayn absolutely awestruck when astounded by what just happened. Sami Zayn looked over yet again. So next up is the 24/7 championship match. It is Reggie versus Cedric Alexander. Now, Reggie with a big loss, of course. He gets smashed. But now, Reggie is lost. So Cedric is now the new 24/7 champion. But the match is over, so now the 24/7 championship rules continue. Where Dana Brooke took full advantage with a blockbuster and a pin. Dana Brooke with a win. New champion. Now, here's some facts. I always say everybody's going to win the damn 24/7 championship match. After all, the 24/7 belt was created in 2019, not so long ago. So ever since then, there has been 154 belt changes. The belt been changed hands 154 times. Dana Brooke's 154th time. She is not the first woman to win it either. There's been Alicia Fox, Carmella, Maria Kanellis, Kelly Kelly, Candice Michelle, and Alundra Blaze were also the women who won that belt. And to say that everybody wins the belt is true. Because not only them, but noticeable mentions, obviously Corey Graves, Peter Rosenberg, Doug Flutie, Bad Bunny, the Gobbledygooker, and Santa Claus, all winners of the 24 champion. But nevertheless, Dana Brooks is also proud of her small accomplishment. So moving on, we got ourselves a wonderful match. This is Adam Pearce doing. Once again, it was the Bobby Lashley story, beating up the Mysterio family, starting with Dominic, then Ray. Now it is a 2-on-1 handicap match. Ray and Dominic versus Lashley. Lashley didn't quite squash them. The Mysterios had some offense, but to make it a little bit even, MVP was there and got one good hit on Dominic. Even up a bit, even though Bobby Lashley. Let's face it, Bobby Lashley does not need the help. And right there, he puts the Hurt Lock on Dominic and wins it for himself. Next up, we got ourselves an open challenge. The North American Championship belt is up, or I should say, it's on the line. It's actually the United States Championship. It's on the line. Open challenge. So who comes out? But
Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews comes out.
I remember in Apollo sounding normal. And it's like,
I'm changing my country. This is what I sound like now.
So with him and Ass Disease, they come up there, but all they do is talk. They don't really want any piece of Damian Priest. He's just a talker.
But I don't want the match.
Okay, so get out of here. So instead, SmackDown's Sami Zayn said, you know what, if you're gonna lose your balls and not come out here, I'm gonna take this challenge. This is what I want. I want the belt. I don't know about you idiots. So he comes out to ring, he challenges. And now Sami Zayn does very well until he gets on, he takes the belt and, he flaunts around with it at the end of the match near. And that just puts Damian Priest and snaps him up a bit. Just did not appreciate that and goes crazy on Sami Zayn. And then not the stupid crazy like the last time we got eliminated or, disqualified. This time, he gets the big victory. So Damian Priest, very proud of his win. Next up, we got our main event. The main event, of course, is Big E versus Austin Theory. Now, at the ring was Seth Rollins, who at the beginning tried to help Austin Theory beat Big E until Kevin Owens came down there, to join the match. So this was Austin Theory's match through and through. Big E, he has very little offense. It's very sad, but it is what it is. So in the end, it was Seth and Kevin Owens fighting it outside, getting Austin Theory's full attention. And while he's doing that, Big E gets in the big ending. Big win against Austin Theory, and at the end, it was just a free-for-all. Big E, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins. Kevin Owens escapes. Seth Rollins does not. He gets the big Finn ending, and that ends Raw with Seth Rollins injured again, and hopefully not attacked again while he leaves, which is absurd. Next up, we get the WWE Smackdown. Okay. This was quite a story indeed. The Kayla Braxton, storyline, which was great. I love Kayla Braxton, and this was a wonderful thing for her to have. Don't think I've ever seen more of her. But she starts by opening the show, in-ring promotion with some news. But to cut her off is Roman Reigns with a 5-minute entrance, and Paul Heyman just totally belittling her, just talking down to Kayla. Asking her, grabbing the mic, but Kayla, being ever professional, cool-headed reporter she is, a woman reporter, cool-headed, intelligent, she gives up the mic. She lets them talk. She gives people their own rope to hang themselves. And you know what? She might have, you felt bad for her because she was being talked down to, but you know what? She's Kayla Braxton. She's strong. So that's first. So we move on to our first match. It is a tag team match. It is... Who knows what's going to happen? Is this new tag team? Jeff Hardy with Drew McIntyre. That should be interesting. Maybe they can go out on top as the tag team champions. I don't know. But versus Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss. Now this was a fun match. Straight up, it's fun. It was fun. But when it came down to it, it was, McIntyre crushing everything. And then tagging in at the end, Jeff Hardy to get Swanton to win. And, Madcap taking the loss. So next we got another Kayla Braxton. She's with Elia. Talking backstage, and then met up with Paul Heyman, who just can't let things go. He talks down, belittling Kayla Braxton once again, talking down to her. Tough time for Kayla Braxton. You need proof. You can't say that Brock Lesnar's being here and you just whatever. So moving on, we got ourselves a match. It's Ridge Holland versus Cesaro with Shamey on Ridge Holland's side. I would have thought Shamey would have had some interference involving Ridge Holland winning this match. But in the end, it was, in fact, Cesaro with a big win over Ridge Holland. Even though Ridge Holland looked good in this match, it was, in fact, a roll-up. So it was a roll-up. It was a cheeky win. Looking sad and depressed is Ridge Holland, his first match and first loss in SmackDown. Next up, last week was Shinsuke Nakamura versus, now this is versus Angel Garza. This week, Angel Garza is taking on Rick Boogs, the Boogster. So it's funny, Rick Boogs introduces Shinsuke Nakamura in the beginning of the match. I'm not sure, he's got to change it up somehow, so then somebody, I don't know, maybe he introduced, I don't know. It seems so weird that he's introducing Shinsuke all the time, even though he's fighting. So it comes down to it, it was Rick Boogs, really strong in this match, really strong. When he's taking over, it was Humberto grabbed the guitar, jumped on the table, and started making a distraction. Shinsuke whacks him off the table, really big bump, but Rick Boogs still very much distracted. And off that distraction, it was Angel Garza with a huge Angel Clipper with the big victory over Rick Boogs. After the big loss last week, he gets a big win this week. It is a rubber match between these two teams. So next up, Kayla Braxton talks to Adam Pearce about Brock Lesnar. Adam Pearce is pretty sure that Brock Lesnar is not going to be back, not that he knows of. Kayla Braxton is not good for you. So now we have an in-ring promo. Michael Cole interviewing Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair saying she's the best in WWE. Toni Storm comes down, takes the ring. Charlotte invites her outside and smashes her in the face with the 2 pies. Toni Storm looking like a complete fool there. I just, wow, Toni Storm looking like a fool again. Is there something going to happen, or is this just going to be a repeating of thing? Just Toni Storm comes and confronts Charlotte. Charlotte makes her look like a fool. So next up, we got Sonya Deville and, Sasha Banks. Before Survivor Series, they had a little talking, a little bit running in, but this time, it's they really had a face-to-face. Sasha Banks saying, why do you, bring out the truth about what a bitch Sonya Deville is. And Sonya Deville, admitting to it. So then she starts a new match. She's like, but hey, she's denying everything about her bias against Sonya Deville. Bring up a lot of truths about Cora Jade, her being, being, or Elia being kicked out. Okay, so next to that, we got ourselves a tag team match. Naomi and Sasha versus Sasha, Shayna, and Natalya. Now, I thought this was going to be a match where Shayna and was going to get some advantage because Sonya was at ringside. So something you thought something was going to happen. But no, actually nothing happened at all. This is the weird part. So it was Naomi getting the pin over Natalya. Sasha and Naomi with a big victory. And it was a stare down. Naomi staring down Sonya. And who knows? It's not over. Sonya's a complete bitch. So next up it's Xia Li with the a big comic book promotion thing. Is her her new comeback. I think this is just setting up for Xia Li to go to AEW. I mean, this is just like Black Malachi Black, So next up, we got ourselves a conclusion there. I think the only person that is in cahoots is with Sonya Deville. Is she only likes, I don't know what's going on with Sonya and Sammy, but she got him into a battle royal at Survivor Series, and now another battle royal with Black Friday battle royal. Now there's no Drew McIntyre in here, but there was Sami Zayn, Eric, Ibar, Jeff Hardy, Ricochet, Mansoor, Cesaro, Drew McIntyre, or Drew Gulak, Mace, Sheamus, Rich Holland, Happy Corbin, Mad Map Moss, Jinder Mahal, Shanky, Angel Garza, Humberto Carrillo, and Rick Boogs. Nowhere is Drew McIntyre, which is weird. There's a lot of people who don't belong in there. This is for the title match against Roman Reigns. So with Drew McIntyre comes to the ring, very disappointed that he's not in the match. Adam Pearce comes out, trying to reason with him. They go to commercial break. After commercial break, he's gone. He left on his own admission. And then continues to tag the Battle Royal. Sami Zayn they all forget about Sami Zayn for some reason. He's outside the second rope. He rolls out. So they all forget about him. It comes down to this, Roman Reigns anxiously watching who's going to win. So it's Jeff Hardy comes out on top. They announced the winner. Jeff Hardy's the winner. If they said that, Jeff Hardy's the winner. But Sami Zayn comes and tosses him off the top, and Sami Zayn's the winner. And coming in to interview with him was Kayla Braxton, because she was waiting there for the time to interview Sami Zayn. But this just in, she gets a notice, and she makes a big announcement that Brock Lesnar will in fact be joining them next week. Adam Pearce, not so happy. He's very frightened. I'm pretty sure Roman Reigns very upset with Paul Heyman looking at him very fiercely. So next up, the NXT UK. That's right. First up, it's a great match. It is not a great match. It was a fun match. Jordan Devlin usually has great matches, but Jordan Devlin against Mark Andrews. This one is a classic AEW style match. My turn, your turn match. It was. I would give an average score on this. But it was a clean victory. Devlin side. Jordan Devlin with a big victory over Mark Andrews. Hard fight match, long match, but not impressive. Next up, we got a match against, I couldn't really get good pictures on this, but Elia James versus Isla Dawn. Now, Isla Dawn, she's been doing some crazy stuff lately. Like, she's been stealing people's stuff, collecting merchant souvenirs. And she comes to the ring with her little box of souvenirs. She just stole one off of, Elia James. So, Isla Dawn, she's fought many times. She's not won at all. She's always been somewhat distracted with something, and she ends up losing. But this time, Isla Dawn, she is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. A favorite woman wrestler, one of my favorite wrestlers. But she is so intriguing. She is a strong style, and she was great in this match. She looks strong and great, and she won. She won with this match. It looks like a fireman's carry to sidewalk slam. Some sort of weird finisher like that, but she finished her off. And funny thing is, that's her character development. She returns the item she stole. She won. She returned it. Very interesting. So we got Isaiah Brookside with what's his name? Sid Scala. She's literally daddy's girl. Not many second generation wrestlers rely on their father's fame to go where they need to go. But Zaya Brookside does. She uses her father, and now she has a match next week against Miko Satomura. Good for you, Zaya. So next up, we got a match. It's the very new Angel Haze versus Danny Luna. But Danny Luna did not show up. As a matter of fact, Ginny says she's taken out Danny Luna in the back. So now, Ginny wants a match without Connor, nowhere to be seen. But Ginny has a match with, just to prove who she is. It's all about Ginny. So, Ginny with a big win over the very new Angel Haze. So now we move on to our main event match, which is Noam Dar versus Sam Gradwell. Sam getting the first pinfall, with he's used the knee brace. Noam Dar with the second with the Nova Rolla.